One of my chatters once said that rehashing content wouldn't be too bad of an idea since, I've talked about quite literally almost a full 168 to 200 hours worth of content on my YouTube straight. Like maybe I'm so far ahead of my thought processes sometime because I absorb what I learned and I use that over and over again till I memorized it. Maybe we can try from this angle because it matters all across the board. I think that the response to a lot of conversations lately have been people who aren't online having these conversations or people who don't have these conversations on a semi daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. These conversations about what's going on in the real world and the effects of like certain legislation, certain events, social events, like George Floyd was big enough that everybody felt it. But George Floyd was also Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin was also Philando Castile. A lot of these moments become water cooler talk and there's no buildup. Now we have larger communities within the internet who also hopefully operate outside of things and they have this information as well. The divide is getting so wide information wise that I think the main problem is that a lot of normal people, and we call them normies, but like a lot of people who aren't like watching this type of content, having these type of discussions, not really needing to face it on a point where they just, make a status and maybe reply a few times, etc. non grata. People who don't have to express opinions for a living now are seeing like this weird outside backlash from a group of people and they're being called words, terms, phrases, they're being made to feel a certain way because they are that divorced from the topic and it makes them feel bad. And I hate to say it this way, but we had this conversation during BLM. We had this conversation during Me Too. Sometimes some things that you do are just going to make people that are close to you feel bad. I had to be told that growing up. I just had a conversation with now one of my best friends in the entire world about this. And her main point was you can't always say that you're doing good all across the board. You can't. Somewhere down the line, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you are indeed going to hurt somebody's feelings, either directly or indirectly. That's just the way life is. That, like, you being a movie star means you move out of your house. Your parents miss you. That hurt them. Damn, it really sucks to see you go. I could really use your help around the house. That type of stuff. I gotta move across the country. We can't be in a relationship. Of course, you don't mean to hurt that person, but you will. Even if the choice that you're making in how you hurt that person ends up benefiting you both more. By just you charting your own path in life, you in order for you to grow, especially in capitalism, but like in an industry, especially in art industry, you're taking a slot that 5 months down the line, somebody's gonna say that should have been my spot. I say that now on my Twitch stream. And I think that we are hurt by hearing that, oh, I'm transphobic now. I don't hate trans people. I just don't get like I think what you're conflating is the repetitiveness of like the Pulse shooting, Club Q shooting, the constant harassment of trans individuals online being told to off themselves. I think all of that built up at the same time as everything started happening in Russia and Ukraine, and everything was kicking off with more Black Lives Matter protests, and you got to care about everybody's feelings. The reason why this conversation is still going is because I think we're all afraid of addressing the underlying matter, which is you were asked to do something, and for some reason, and then remember, this isn't a condemn it. I think like we got to focus on that because I just spent all this time explaining to you like I get the vitriol, like I get it, but I'm gonna explain it hopefully, and it makes sense. I think that you were asked to do something, and it really really puzzled you why this was so important to some people, because you're divorced from that community in a way that is by nature. Maybe there are more links, maybe there are more threads. It just seemed like for some people the ask was very easy, and like there was nobody willing to comply with it, which brings me to the second point. This isn't the first time this has happened, and this is what I was like, this is the real world example of, hopefully I could explain it to you. Remember that Twitch blackout that was supposed to go down where people would strike and not stream because they were treating their black creators really horribly, and like there were a bunch of hate raids going around? People asked bigger streamers to participate then, and they didn't either. That's why this is a painful conversation, because it looks like the cause is important, but the little tiny actions you feel don't make a bigger statement. That's the echoed sentiment. And the fact that, like, I think it's for what I've heard, I think it's more, this is common sense. Why is there such vitriol being thrown back at us? And some people say it's the way you went about it. It's harassing and bullying people. It's this and that. It's like, okay, they either kick and scream or they do it the way that you want. And then that leads us to the protests of 2020. They're watching the response in real time be the same thing from the people they considered allies. So if we can't get you to do this, not we, I shouldn't say, if they can't get you to do this, what can they get you to do? That's the question. And it's bothering certain people because it's moving pieces within them that say, I think it's unfair that, like, I can't be mad at you for this. Like, people were mad at a lot of people for a lot of decisions that they made, and through conversation we worked that out. But since this is so loud, it's reveling all, it's bringing in all the normal people who don't know any of this, and they don't have that empathy to say that because they don't view Club Q as a massive as a massive issue for the LGBTQ community. They don't view the Pulse nightclub shooting as a massive blow to their community because they're not a part of them. I have gay friends. It's like I said, community. Do you talk about these things with those friends? Do those friends message you and have conversations with you about them? If the answers are starting to become no, 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 then this is where the noise gets louder and louder. Because now a whole group of people who I guess love Harry Potter and love J.K. Rowling or whatever are all going to be introduced to everything I've said in this entire video. And now they have to absorb that as either truth or something to look into more. So we're going to, out of 10,000, every 10,000 people, we're going to lose 5,000 to the time, we're going to lose 2,000 to the information, and we're going to lose 50 to the bigots. I think for a lot of people, it just feels like, damn, I thought we made progress to where we could ask these type of things. But I guess this isn't something we can ask for. There are multiple solutions, quite literally, to it all. But at the same time, it's not like Hasan is ever going to watch this. It's not like... It's not like even if he watched it, he would have to give a shit. Because we're divorced from each other. This just looks like a clout chase if I even bring up his name. And there's rules to this. There's rules to this game. There's rules to this place. There's rules to everything. And I get it. I'm a cis guy. I can't really speak on behalf of. But, like, nobody's listening anyway, so who really gives a fuck, right? And I think that's the biggest downfall of this all, is that this is noise chatter to millions of people. Go gadget trans.